At my lowest point 2 years ago, I avoided every chance at looking at myself. I avoided taking pictures. I dreaded passing the mirrors in the school bathroom and even just opening Snapchat. I was avoiding looking at myself because I was avoiding the state that I had become. I was avoiding the droopy, uneven eyelids that were a result of crying regularly, and the stress-induced skin flare-ups. My poor mental state was even reflected in the clothing that I wore. In the green, oversized jacket that had absolutely no shape and was way too worn in. I was worn down. I was worn down by the tensions in my relationships. I frequently argued with my parents for reasons that I don't even remember. I was isolated from pushing away everyone that was close to me. And the cherry on top, an accumulation of stress and anxiety from my school and extracurriculars. Also, 2 years ago, at this time of the year, you could have found me in Kaiser Psychiatric Building waiting for my group counseling session. You know, I was skeptical at first. I thought, I have enough problems myself. Why do I have to listen to other people's? But I agreed to go, and so every Monday evening, I spent 1 hour with other teens who were dealing with similar issues as me. Repressed anger, insecurity, stress, among other things. So the cycle repeated every week. Every Monday evening, my mom would take me to Kaiser. After school, I checked in with the receptionist, shared 1 or 2 sentences, and went home. I struggled to open up. I was stressed and overwhelmed with my relationships, with eating, my body image, and my school and activities. But then I began to open up. In normal conversations about what we ate at lunch to Kylie Jenner and Travis Scott's daughter, Stormy, we bonded. In deep conversations about our mental health, we were able to empathize with one another, to acknowledge each other as real, normal teenagers, not defined by the confines of our mental illness. As I continue on my personal journey with mental health, I often remember this support group. Because whether they knew it or not, they helped me. I knew I wasn't alone in my experiences and that there were individuals who were dealing with the same issues as me. It's no secret that mental health is becoming a more prominent issue among this generation. Along with teen pregnancy, drug and alcohol abuse, bullying, depression and anxiety emerges as a top issue for many teenagers. 70% of teenagers believe anxiety and depression is a major issue, while an additional 26% believe it to be a minor issue. But the underlying issue goes so much further than what I experienced in therapy and direct treatment of mental illness. While medical treatment was a beacon of hope for my personal hardship, I didn't always receive the same amount of support in other environments. Negative side effects arose. My eczema flared up. My bed sheets were always stained with blood from scratching until I bled. Panic attacks in public were seen by authority figures that I was supposed to look up to as a problem for the people around me, a disruption. And I heard various things across the spectrum from, you're too emotional, to what's wrong with you, to it's not a big deal. The manifestation of my depression and motivation were viewed as irresponsible and lazy. But it wasn't just being unable to wake up in the morning because I didn't get enough sleep. It was waking up way too many times throughout the night because of anxiety. It was feeling so disgusting in the morning that your skin is crawling and you can't even find the will to get dressed to go out. But the problem with my negative experience isn't personal. The lack of empathy I received from others isn't because people are cruel and inhumane. It's a lack of education on mental health. It's our culture's inability to address mental health as a legitimate ongoing issue that occurs outside of just Mental Health Week. Look, it's fun and all, but mental health activities during office hours for just 1 week aren't helping cure me or helping my peers understand it any better. Regardless, mental illness An issue that is outside of our control is something that we are still ashamed of. Why is therapy something that we feel guilty about? Mental health in many cultures is a taboo topic. People avoid telling their family and friends about their experience out of shame, unable to communicate their health due to fear of backlash. It's literally easier for people to tell others that they have brain cancer than other severe forms of mental illness, such as schizophrenia. Signs of mental illness are dismissed as emotions, day-to-day stress, and just a bad day. When you have all the necessities to live a successful life, it's shameful to receive a diagnosis of poor mental health. When there are more difficult things to be handled, it's selfish to be unhappy. But by opening up the conversation on mental health, individuals will be able to share their experiences rather than accumulate any sorts of grief or trauma and explode and break down. Talking about going to therapy should be equivalent to seeing a doctor for a fever. While not everyone deals with mental illness, everyone deals with mental health and stress to a certain extent. Just as everyone gets physically sick at times or deals with symptoms of a cold. Anyone can go and receive therapy and seek help. I've also noticed high school attendance decreases every year as we get older. Freshman year, I never wanted to miss school. Everyone always made an effort to power through whatever symptoms that they had so that they could go to school and hang out with their friends. When sophomore year rolled around and I started to have to deal with my mental health, I had to take off days for myself. And many of my peers didn't understand why I had to do so, and the same thing carried over to junior year. But then, many of my peers started to experience an unhealthy accumulation of stress and anxiety, especially due to schoolwork. And so then they too started to understand why. Sure, senioritis exists, and some people are just lazy and too tired to get up sometimes. But that doesn't invalidate the experience of those who are too depressed, too unmotivated to get up. And even more so for the less common manic and trauma episodes. Those are just as valid. Everyone can't just power through every single day and function perfectly, putting on a front and being productive. Everyone doesn't get enough sleep, doesn't get enough rest. And with the societal expectation of constant productivity, the ingrained capitalistic idea that our inherent value comes from how much we are capable of producing. Mental health days, weeks, and even months aren't enough. We need to move past awareness weeks and into discussions. We can't expect our mental illnesses to disappear with mental health activities or even a speech the length that I'm giving right now. Furthermore, mental health care and treatment lack accessibility. Just knowing the price that my parents paid for me to go see a therapist for 45 minutes led to hesitation from getting the help that I needed. On average, people are paying $90 per hour to see a therapist. And price may increase with specific treatments. Now imagine that once a week, twice a week, without insurance. And even with insurance, people are paying $20 to $50 per session. Students don't know the resources that are available to them either. Organizations such as the Trevor Project and Crisis Text Line have created 24/7 live text and chat for youth in need to redirect them to sources for their daily use. Online therapy is available too, often at lower rates, with sites like BetterHelp connecting individuals to licensed counselors. So, what can we do? As individuals, we can all work on three things: acknowledgement, mindfulness, and empathy. So first, acknowledgement. We need to acknowledge our peers' experiences without judgment. We need to place mental health support as a priority, not a question up for debate, so that people can obtain the help that they are in need of. It's something people are constantly struggling with. It's even harder without acknowledgement. Second, mindfulness, being mindful of ourselves and of others. Growth and healing starts with mindfulness. Setbacks and withdrawals are often seen when dealing with mental illness, But it's okay. It's okay to have these steps backward because we are works in progress, and this is a part of the process. So be mindful of others. Be supportive so that students can get the help that they're in need of, so that they can grow and learn to their fullest potential. And that's just in the context of high school, and the same goes for in the workplace. Strong mental health cultivates growth, encouragement of individuals to pursue their goals and work on what they hope their life to become. And lastly, empathy. Empathy is the key to supporting individuals dealing with mental health. Mental health takes many, many shapes and forms, and it's so easy to feel alone and isolated when you're at your lowest point. But by empathizing with others, by truly sharing and understanding others' experiences, we can create a supportive environment, an environment that propels individuals to taking steps forward in their life, and being there when there are withdrawals and setbacks. Incorporate these into your actions every day so that mental health can get what it deserves, more than just a week. Thank you.